Welcome to the Shadow Laboratory of Ultimate Productivity, where we systematically dismantle everything you thought you knew about efficiency and time management. The modern world is obsessed with planning, with control, with forcing reality to conform to a checklist. We fill our days with rigid schedules, overwhelming to-do lists, and the constant anxious pressure to optimize every minute. This is not productivity. This is the productivity of the herd, a desperate attempt to impose order on the chaos of existence through sheer force of will. It is a system built on the fragile foundation of fear of wasted time, fear of failure, fear of irrelevance. But what if the very pursuit of control is what drains your energy and stifles your true creative power? What if there exists a more profound, more potent way to engage with your day, one that doesn't fight against reality, but dances with it? Today, we explore the first principle of Nietzsche's ultimate productivity system, a radical departure from conventional wisdom that will transform not just how you work, but how you exist in time itself. This is the practice of Amor Fati Utra Morning, Amor Fati the conscious, willed embrace of your day exactly as it is and as it will unfold, not as you wish it to be. This is not passive resignation. It is the most active and powerful stance you can take at the dawn of a new day. It is the decision to meet reality as a partner in a dance, not as an enemy to be conquered. The common man wakes up and immediately seeks to impose his will upon the day. He grabs his phone, checks his calendar, and mentally prepares for battle against a world of obligations and interruptions. He starts his day from a place of lack, of resistance. The Nietzschean sovereign, however, begins from a place of profound acceptance. Before he even opens his eyes, he performs a simple but transformative ritual. He lies in silence and declares to himself, not as a wish, but as a statement of fact. I will love everything this day brings, every obstacle, every interruption, every success, every failure. It is all part of the perfect curriculum for my growth. This is the essence of Amor Fati applied to the mundane flow of daily life. It is the understanding that your fight against traffic, your frustration with a canceled meeting, your irritation at an unexpected task, all of this resistance is what truly exhausts you, not the tasks themselves. By accepting the day wholly and completely, you disarm it. You drain it of its power to frustrate you. The traffic jam is no longer an obstacle to your peace. It becomes an opportunity for a few minutes of solitude. The canceled meeting is not a scheduling disaster. It is a gift of unexpected time. This mental shift is atomic in its power. It transforms you from a reactor, buffeted by the winds of circumstance, into a conscious navigator who uses every condition, favorable or not, as propulsion. The practical application begins the moment consciousness dawns. You do not reach for your phone. You do not check your emails. You do not mentally run through your to-do list. For the first 10 minutes of your day, you are in a state of intentional receptivity. You feel the weight of your body on the mattress. You listen to the sounds of the world outside your window. You observe your breath, and you repeat your mantra of acceptance. This day is my fate, and I love it. This is not mystical nonsense. It is cognitive priming of the highest order. You are setting the foundational operating system for your psyche, installing the core belief that you are equal to whatever the day may bring. From this place of grounded acceptance, you can then engage with planning. But it will be a different kind of planning, fluid, adaptive, and strategic. Instead of creating a rigid list of demands you place upon reality, you outline a set of intentions you will move toward, fully prepared to adapt your path as the landscape of the day shifts. Your plan becomes a compass, not a railroad track. This is productivity born of strength, not anxiety. It is the difference between trying to push the river and learning to swim with its current. This first principle is the bedrock upon which all other aspects of Nietzschean productivity are built. Without this fundamental shift from resistance to acceptance, any other technique will merely be a more sophisticated way of fighting yourself. Embrace your day, love your fate, and watch as your energy, focus, and power expand in ways you never thought possible. This is just the beginning of a profound transformation. If you're ready to shatter the chains of conventional productivity and unlock a level of creative power that makes traditional time management obsolete, subscribe now. The most dangerous ideas are yet to come. Now you stand at the threshold of a new way of being, having embraced the foundational power of morning Amor Fati. You no longer begin your day at war with reality, but in a conscious dance with it. The frantic need to control, to manipulate the day into submission, has been replaced by a profound and grounded acceptance. This is the essential first step, the calm before the creative storm. Yet, a crucial question remains. How do you navigate this dance? How do you choose which steps to take, which movements to prioritize, when the music of the day is constantly shifting, when opportunities and obstacles arise in an unpredictable flow? Conventional productivity, the religion of the modern herd, offers a plethora of seemingly rational answers. It presents priority matrices, colorful, urgent, important grids, complex systems of categorization and context switching. These are the tools of the manager, the clerk, the administrator of a small, frightened life. They are designed for an individual who sees time as a scarce, limited resource to be allocated, budgeted, and spent with miserly precision. They operate from a mindset of deep-seated scarcity and fear, the fear of wasting a minute, the fear of missing an opportunity, the fear of being seen as unproductive, the fear of death itself disguised as a concern for efficiency. The Nietzschean sovereign, the individual who is awakening to his ultimate productivity, operates from an entirely different plane. His mindset is one of abundance, not a naive abundance of time, but a roaring volcanic abundance of will. His time may be limited, but his capacity to imbue each moment with intense purpose and power is limitless. Your decision-making filter, therefore, cannot be based on the superficial metrics of mere efficiency or the hollow chase of external validation. It must be rooted in something far more profound, something that touches the very core of your existence and your reason for being. It must be a compass that points unerringly toward your highest potential. This brings us to the second, and perhaps most transformative, principle of the ultimate productivity system, the application of the eternal recurrence as a decision filter. This is not a proposal for a metaphysical belief in literal, cosmic rebirth. To get bogged down in that debate is to miss the entire devastating power of the concept. The eternal recurrence is, first and foremost, the most potent psychological razor ever devised for cutting through the fat of trivial choices, the noise of societal expectations, and the seductive whisper of procrastination. It is a tool for existential clarity, a thought experiment of such brutal simplicity that it can, if applied with courage, reorganize your entire life in a single afternoon. Here is the proposition, in Nietzsche's own words from The Gay Science. What if someday or night a demon were to steal after you into your loneliest loneliness and say to you, "This life as you now live it and have lived it, you will have to live once more and innumerable times more, and there will be nothing new in it, but every pain and every joy and every thought and sigh and everything unutterably small or great in your life will have to return to you, all in the same succession and sequence, even this spider and this moonlight between the trees, and even this moment and I myself. The eternal hourglass of existence is turned upside down again and again, and you with it, speck of dust." Sit with the weight of that for a moment, not just the highlights, not just the victories and joys, but the entire sequence. The boring Tuesday afternoons, the moments of petty resentment, the compromises you made out of fear, the times you scrolled mindlessly on your phone, the difficult conversations you avoided, the creative projects you abandoned, the cheap pleasures you settled for, the profound love you experienced, the moments of stunning insight, the times you stood your ground, all of it, the magnificent and the mundane, the heroic and the pathetic, returning in an infinite loop with no variation, forever. This thought experiment is the filter. It is the ultimate question you must learn to ask yourself before undertaking any action of significance, before saying yes or no to any commitment, before diverting your precious, irreplaceable attention. The question is this: if I were to repeat this specific action with this specific quality of energy and intention an infinite number of times, would it forge me into a stronger, more alive, more authentic version of myself? Or would it, repetition by eternal repetition, grind me down, diminish my spirit, and make me weaker? This is not about whether the action is fun or easy. Or many difficult and painful things are worth willing eternally because they build character and strength. Many easy and pleasant things are existential poison when viewed through the lens of eternity. This single question, applied with ruthless and consistent honesty, has the power to vaporize procrastination, annihilate time-wasting activities, and silence the siren call of social obligation that does not serve your higher purpose. It cuts through the paralysis of choice by connecting every decision to the grand overarching project of your life, the creation of a self so potent, so authentic, and so life-affirming that you would gladly, even ecstatically, will its eternal return. Let's make this brutally practical. The demon of the eternal recurrence is here, in your everyday life. It whispers its question in the quiet moments before you act. You are tired after a long day. You are considering spending the next 45 minutes scrolling passively through social media, absorbing a curated stream of other people's lives, advertisements, and outrage. Apply the filter. Close your eyes and truly imagine it. Would I will to experience this exact same scroll with this same passive consumption, this same slight anxiety and envy, this same draining of my mental focus for 45 minutes, an infinite number of times? Would this infinite repetition of passive consumption create a god or a zombie? The answer is a visceral, resounding, gut-wrenching no. The compulsion instantly loses its power. It is exposed for what it is, a tiny death, a subtraction of life force. The energy you would have spent on that scroll is now available for something else. Now, a different scenario. You know you need to have a difficult but necessary conversation with a colleague or a loved one. You have been avoiding it. The thought of it creates anxiety. Apply the filter. The burrow. If I were to will the courage, the honesty, and the integrity required to have this conversation and to have it well as a permanent repeating feature of my character for all eternity, what would that make me? Would the infinite repetition of this courageous act forge a spirit of unbreakable strength and authenticity? The answer, though perhaps still accompanied by a flutter of nervousness, is a triumphant, powerful yes. The action is now instantly transfigured. It is no longer a dreaded chore to be avoided. It is a conscious, deliberate step in the sculpting of your eternal self. The anxiety is still there, but it is now the anxiety of a warrior before a battle, not the anxiety of a slave before a whipping. The quality of the energy has completely shifted. You are faced with a choice at the end of your workday. You can either open your laptop and work for an hour on a passion project, a book, A business idea, a piece of art, something that genuinely expresses your will to create. Or you can collapse on the sofa and watch the next episode of a popular television series. Conventionally, both might be seen as rest or leisure. But the eternal recurrence filter makes the distinction starkly clear. One activity is life-affirming. It is a manifestation of your will to power, your drive to impose your form upon chaos. The other is merely a way to pass the time, to numb yourself, to consume what others have created. Would I will the focused, creative struggle of this hour of work to be a fundamental repeating rhythm of my existence? Or would I will the passive, distracted glow of the television screen? The choice becomes obvious, not through force of discipline, but through the sheer gravitational pull of a more meaningful existence. The power of this filter extends far beyond simple choices between work and distraction. It helps you choose between different qualities of energy and different modes of being. It forces you to evaluate not just the outward outcome of an action, but the inner essence of the action itself. What state of consciousness does this action produce in me? Does it demand my full presence, my sharpest focus, my deepest resources? Or does it allow me to be passive, fragmented, and weak? Does this action leave me feeling expanded, more capable, more integrated? Or does it leave me feeling contracted, drained, and dispersed? This is a universe away from the superficial question, is this productive? You can be incredibly productive in a way that drains your soul and weakens your spirit. Think of the lawyer efficiently processing cases he despises, or the manager optimizing a system he doesn't believe in. Conversely, you can be unproductive in a way that replenishes your creative reserves and strengthens your resolve. An afternoon walk in nature, an hour spent playing with a child, time invested in deep, uninterrupted thought. The eternal recurrence filter transcends this crude dichotomy of productive-unproductive. It introduces a higher metric, the metric of life enhancement. This is productivity reframed as self-sculpture. Every yes uttered after passing it through the filter is a deliberate, powerful chisel stroke that defines your form. Every no is the conscious discarding of excess stone, the removal of everything that is not the masterpiece you are becoming. The sum total of your day, then, is not merely a checked-off to-do list that leaves you feeling empty. It is the living, breathing artifact of a will that has chosen itself again and again in favor of a higher, more potent existence. It is a day that you could, in its entirety, look upon and say, yes, I would live this day exactly as it was, an infinite number of times. This feeling of total affirmation is the highest form of productivity. It is the feeling of being in absolute alignment with your own life force. This is the second great step moving from the passive, albeit powerful, acceptance of the day to the active, conscious, and relentless creation of your destiny within it. Your will, sharpened by the whetstone of eternity, is now the compass. The map is your infinite return. The journey into true sovereign power is accelerating. The weak seek comfort in distraction. The strong seek the terror and ecstasy of eternal self-creation. If you are not yet subscribed, you are choosing to remain in the anteroom of your own potential. The most dangerous and liberating applications of this philosophy are just ahead, and they are reserved for those with the courage to go all the way. You have mastered the art of morning acceptance and armed yourself with the ultimate decision-making filter that connects every choice to the grand canvas of eternity. Now we arrive at the critical juncture where philosophy must become motion, where intention must translate into tangible action in the real world. The entire modern self-help and productivity industry has one universal thunderous answer for this: discipline. It preaches the gospel of rigid self-control, of gritting your teeth and forcing yourself to do what you know you should do, of battling against your own nature, your laziness, your resistance, your weaker impulses. This model, while sometimes effective in the short term, is fundamentally flawed at its core and is ultimately a philosophy of weakness. It creates a perpetual civil war within the psyche. It pits a stern, judgmental part of you against the spontaneous, desiring, living part of you. This internal conflict is a massive drain on your vital energy. The you that wields the whip of discipline is constantly at war with the you that seeks pleasure, rest, and distraction. This is the productivity of the slave, driven by the fear of punishment, guilt, shame, failure, and the hope of a distant reward, approval, money, success. It is exhausting. It creates resentment towards your own goals, and it systematically weakens your overall willpower by constantly fighting against your own life force. The Nietzschean path offers a radical and far more powerful alternative. The third principle of ultimate productivity is to completely abandon the paradigm of discipline and instead learn to consciously channel your will to power. The difference is not semantic, it is existential. Discipline is fundamentally about suppression and control. The will to power is about expression and release. Discipline asks the draining question, how can I force myself to do this unpleasant thing? The will to power asks the empowering question, how can this action become an authentic expression of my strength? How can I perform this task in a way that actually generates more energy and increases my sense of power and capability? This requires a profound shift in how you perceive the very sensation of resistance, that feeling of inertia, that heavy desire to procrastinate, that internal no that screams when you contemplate a difficult task. This is not your enemy to be defeated. This is not a moral failing or a sign of a weak character. This is raw, undirected psychological energy. It is the very pulse of your will to power, but it is confused, blocked, and seeking an outlet that feels congruent with your deeper self. When you feel a powerful resistance to working on your most important project, it is rarely because you are inherently lazy. It is often because a deep intuitive part of you recognizes that the manner in which you are about to engage with the work is draining, meaningless, or misaligned with your true nature. You are trying to approach a sovereign task with a slave's mentality, and your spirit rebels against it. The solution, therefore, is not to declare war on the resistance, but to seduce it. You must learn to reframe the task itself so that it transforms from a burdensome obligation into a vehicle for your power, a game that is worthy of your spirit and your unique capabilities. This is where the spirit of play becomes the highest form of serious productivity. Observe a true master at work, a brilliant software architect lost in code, a skilled surgeon in the operating theater, a captivating writer in the flow state. When they are operating at their peak, they are not exercising grim discipline. They are playing. They are engaged in a complex, challenging, and deeply satisfying game. The challenge itself is the reward. The activity is no longer merely a means to an external end, a paycheck, a finished product, praise. It becomes an end in itself, an activity that is intrinsically rewarding because it fully engages, tests, and expresses their highest capabilities. This is the will to power in its pure, joyful, and unstoppable form. Your mission, then, is to become an alchemist of your daily life and transform your obligations into personal games. How can you turn that tedious financial report into a game of strategic clarity and persuasive storytelling? How can you turn that demanding physical workout into a game of exploring and expanding the very limits of your body? How can you turn the process of learning a complex new skill into a game of intellectual exploration and gradual mastery? The moment you discover the play hidden within the work, the resistance magically dissolves. It is replaced by intense focus, genuine curiosity, and a deep intrinsic motivation that requires no external validation. You are no longer forcing yourself to work. You are allowing yourself the pleasure of playing a game that, by its very nature, makes you stronger, more skilled, and more powerful. The practical technique for achieving this shift is the power reframe. The moment you feel that familiar wave of resistance toward a task, you institute a mandatory pause. You do not engage in a mental battle or try to argue yourself into it. Instead, you calmly ask two targeted questions. First, what is the specific texture of this resistance I'm feeling? Is it the boredom of repetition? Is it the fear of failure and judgment? Is it a feeling of meaninglessness and futility? You must diagnose the specific psychological block. Second, and most crucially, how can I creatively reframe this exact task so that it directly challenges and engages that specific part of me? How can I turn it into a personal test of my courage, my creativity, my patience, or my endurance? For example, if you are resisting writing because you are terrified the result won't be perfect, you reframe it. The task is no longer write a perfect chapter. The new game becomes bravely vomit the raw, imperfect, and messy first draft onto the page for 20 minutes without any judgment or editing, a pure test of courage. You have just transformed a task of quality into a game of bravery. If you are resisting a difficult conversation with an employee, the game is no longer get through the confrontation. The game becomes stand calmly in your truth and deliver clear, direct feedback with unwavering composure, testing your own emotional mastery under pressure. The focus shifts from the other person's reaction to the quality of your own presence. This is how you stop fighting your will and start channeling it. You are not breaking the resistance, you are redirecting its energy. The feeling of overcoming is replaced by the feeling of expressing. This is productivity without the civil war, action without the internal drain. It is the difference between pushing a boulder up a hill and learning to ride it down the other side. The will to power, when understood and channeled, is not a burden. It is the most potent and renewable energy source you possess. The herd is disciplined out of fear. The sovereign plays out of strength. This is the secret they will never teach you in corporate seminars. The final keys to unlocking this system of ultimate power are within your grasp. If you are not subscribed, you are voluntarily disconnecting from the source code of genuine achievement. Now that you've learned to channel your will to power through play, we arrive at the most paradoxical principle of productivity. Our entire modern culture is obsessed with control. We create plans, digital calendars, reminder systems, trying to armor chaotic reality and predictability. But life itself resists this. Unexpected events, creative insights, genuine breakthroughs all emerge from chaos, not order. Nietzsche understood. The highest form of strength lies not in suppressing chaos, but in learning to dance with it. This doesn't mean plunging into chaos. It means creating structures and rhythms that enhance your ability to adapt and create rather than limiting it. Imagine two people. One tries to build an impregnable dam against a river. The other learns to skillfully sail a boat in turbulent waters. The first exhausts all energy fighting and ultimately loses. The second uses the power of the elements to move forward. Your productivity should resemble a sailboat, not a dam. Practically, this means transitioning from a rigid schedule to rhythmic organization. Instead of planning every hour of your day, you define key rhythms. a morning block for deep work, an afternoon block for communication, an evening block for integration and rest. Within these rhythms, you maintain flexibility. If a brilliant idea related to another project emerges during your morning block, you can change course without guilt. You trust your internal compass more than a pre-drawn map. Your system becomes alive and responsive. You organize chaos rather than trying to eliminate it. You create frameworks within which spontaneity becomes possible. This is like jazz. There's a main melody and structure, but within them, infinite space for improvisation. This approach doesn't lead to chaos. It leads to the highest form of order, an order capable of evolving and growing. This is productivity that doesn't drain but energizes because it aligns with the very nature of life. Ordinary people fear chaos. Extraordinary people dance with it. If you're not subscribed yet, you're missing the most powerful principle, the one that turns struggle into dance. We have journeyed through the fundamental transformations, from morning acceptance to eternal decision-making, from the play of will to the dance with chaos. Each step has been a deliberate move away from the productivity of the herd toward a sovereign expression of your capabilities. Now we arrive at the final, most subtly powerful, and most universally misunderstood component of this entire system, the art of supreme, active, regenerative rest. The modern world, in its frantic haste, views rest through a lens of lack. It is either a reward to be earned after exhaustion, a guilty pleasure to be indulged, or worse, a sign of weakness, a void of non-productivity that must be minimized or filled with passive consumption. This is the perspective of the last man, for whom even leisure becomes just another form of consumption, another way to numb the existential dread of an unexamined life. The Nietzschean sovereign understands something far more radical and profound. Genuine rest is not the opposite of work. It is a different, equally vital modality of the will to power. It is the state where your conscious mind steps back, allowing your deeper intelligence to integrate, synthesize, and create new connections. It is the necessary phase of consolidation where the seeds planted during periods of focused effort germinate and take root in the fertile soil of your psyche. This is Übermensch rest, not passive collapse, but an active, conscious, and deeply creative process of regeneration. Consider the eagle. It does not rest to escape its nature as a predator. It ascends to the highest thermal currents to gain a panoramic view of the entire landscape, to see patterns invisible from the ground, to restore its strength for the next decisive strike. Your rest should be the same, a strategic ascent to a higher vantage point. This is not about numbing your senses with the endless scroll of social media or drowning your awareness in the noise of entertainment. Those activities are not rest. They are a different form of exhaustion, a fragmentation of attention that leaves you more drained than before. True, sovereign rest is an intense, focused non-doing. It might be a long, silent walk in nature where your senses are fully engaged with the wind, the scent of pine, the texture of the earth, a sensory bath that washes away the psychic residue of abstraction. It could be a period of seated meditation where you consciously digest the experiences and emotions of the day, not to judge them, but to metabolize them into wisdom. It might be complete immersion in a symphony, a painting, or a poem that elevates your spirit and connects you to something transcendent. It is in these moments of profound, intentional rest that the most significant insights invariably emerge. The elegant solution to a problem that eluded you for weeks during forced concentration, the creative connection between two seemingly unrelated ideas that sparks a revolution in your thinking. The sudden, quiet clarity about the true direction of your life's work. This happens because you are not switching off your mind. You are simply switching it to a different, more receptive frequency, one that is global, associative, and deeply integrative. The practical protocol, therefore, is to design and guard your rest with the same fierce intention and strategic clarity with which you design your work. This begins with a daily ritual of completion. At the end of your active work cycle, do not simply walk away from your desk. Instead, spend 5 minutes in deliberate reflection. Acknowledge what was accomplished, however small. Then, consciously and verbally release it. Say to yourself, "This is now complete." I release it to my subconscious. This simple act performs a crucial psychological function. It tells your deeper mind that the active work phase is over and the integration phase can begin. It allows your subconscious to continue working on the problem without your ego's anxious interference. This is why you so often have brilliant ideas in the shower or while walking. You've given your mind permission to work in the background. This principle extends to the larger arcs of your life. Your weekends and vacations should not be conceptualized as escapes from your life. This very framing reinforces the idea that your daily existence is a prison. Instead, view them as intentional intensifications of your life-dedicated periods for a different kind of growth. A weekend could be a deep dive into restoration through sleep, nature, and silence. A vacation could be an immersive learning experience, a physical challenge, or a cultural pilgrimage that actively expands the boundaries of your being. The goal is to return not just rested in the conventional sense, but more than you were before, stronger, wiser, more integrated, and with a broader perspective. When you master this final principle, the artificial dichotomy between work and rest completely dissolves. Both become fluid, complementary expressions of a single continuous flow of empowered living. You work from a state of overflowing fullness, not depleted scarcity. And you rest not as a collapse, but as an active cultivation of power, a sacred space for the silent, potent work of becoming. This is the circle complete. You begin the day with Amor Fati. You filter your decisions through the lens of eternity. You channel your will through the spirit of play. You dance with chaos through flexible structure, and you recharge through the art of supreme rest. You are no longer a manager of time chasing minutes. You have become a conductor of energy, a sovereign artist shaping the very substance of your existence. The path is fully walked. The tools are in your hands. The transformation is yours to claim. This is the end of searching and the beginning of mastery. The door is open. If you choose not to walk through it now, the choice and the consequence are yours alone.